Okay. But we have another question at this microphone.
Hello, my name is Whitney Campbell. I live here in the Woodlands, and I'm curious how both candidates would solve the problem of foreign oil. And I see Congress out there, having a campaign against gas guzzling cars and that sort of thing. But I don't really see Congress solving the problem of getting our dependence off of foreign oil. Now that gasoline's not $4 a gallon, it seems to be a back burner issue. So how would you address the problem of getting the United States off of foreign oil?
I think you go first.
I get to go first. I'm glad you asked an energy question because I like to think that I'm the expert on this topic out of all the candidates running. Energy is something that we need to address nearly close to immediately, not as fast as we need to get the spending cuts through first, but energy is our #1 national security ticket item. If we don't have some sort of energy, America shuts down. We have a vast amount of natural resources here in our country. I know that everybody here probably heard drill here, drill now. I work in the oil industry. I think that that's a good idea, but I don't think it's the only solution. There's a lot of natural gas that we're not tapping into. There's nuclear power that we haven't looked at in a very long time. There's all kinds of new technology, bleeder cell reactors, which create very little waste, is one of those technologies within the nuclear vicinity. We also have coal. Coal technology has been around for centuries, and it still is one of the best ways to make energy. I think that we need to look at our energy mix. I know gasoline is probably the thing that you guys think of most when you think of energy, but coal is our #1 producer of electricity, and electricity is what we consume the most of every day. So we need to make sure that we're addressing everything. We need to address all of the energy policy, and the Department of Energy was put into place in the 1970s to make sure that we were oil independent from all other countries. Well, first of all, they didn't do that job very well at all, so I'd like to get rid of them too. But I think that what we need to focus on is how can we become more independent and not completely independent. I want to keep costs low for the consumer. I want to make sure that we have the right policies in place to make that happen. The only way to make that happen is to end the subsidies for everybody and make it even competition across the board. I'd like to see new technology developed, and the only way to make that happen is to cut taxes so companies can invest in some R&D.
My mic stand keeps sinking here on me, so I'm going to pick this up. Drill here, drill now is a great solution. I would say that it is pretty high priority because of one word: jobs. It will create jobs here now. We stand at 10.2 if you look at the U3 scale on unemployment. If you look at the U6, which is actually the true number of people that aren't on the books, that have just fallen off because they're not even looking for work anymore, 17.5% unemployment. 50% of youth between 18 and 22 are currently unemployed. If you look at the numbers, if you break that down demographically, the black and Hispanic communities are even higher. We need jobs. We need them now. We needed them a year ago, and the Obama administration has just now started talking about it because it's coming up on election cycle. I'm not talking about it because it's election cycle. We need people to work. We need to put people to work. It is the only way we're going to get our economy on the rebound besides cutting spending. So we need energy now, and oil is the quickest way to get there.
I think we answered every question there except for what is the energy policy. Drill here, drill now is great. I'd like to tap our oil reserves. I know that we have a federal mandate that we can end immediately, and that will definitely help us out. But it's not the only way to create jobs in our country. If we took away the subsidies and we made competition fair, companies would now be competing and making more money, and we'd be getting better costs as consumers. And on top of that, we'll also create more jobs. Oil has a lead time of about 15 years, Scott. So when you open up the federal soil, unless you're doing an onshore development, it will take 7 to 8 years for that. It's not really going to help immediately. What will help immediately is ending the subsidies and cutting the spending and cutting the taxes that make these companies fail to operate every day.
I've seen reports from some companies that say they could be producing in 18 months. The only thing that would hold them back is the refining capacity, which we've stifled for 25 to 30 years. So 18 years maybe for the big companies, but some of the smaller guys, and most of the oil field companies are small businesses. There are a few large companies like ExxonMobil and BP that dominate the news and everything else, but most of the supporting companies and most of the industry is dominated by small businesses, and that's where we should be focusing our resources. Coal is also important. Nuclear is important. Nuclear will take another 10 to 15 years minimum to build anything. So that is not an instant solution. And we shouldn't be investigating, we should be investigating and pursuing all these clean technologies, but we're not going to pour a lot of government money into them until they're commercially viable. Ethanol in our gas tanks is not commercially viable. Corn crops, food crops have gone up like crazy because of that. It's a bad idea. It's not an answer. We need to pursue the oil industry. We need to pursue a comprehensive energy strategy.